The following program has been rated PG-13.
What's up, family? Now, many of you have reached out to me in regards to our next upcoming feast day called Hanukkah / Feast of Dedication. Now, just to let you know, Hanukkah simply means Feast of Dedication in Hebrew. So they are one and the same. Now, can we be honest, family? Can we be honest? So many of you have reached out to me for the purpose of finding out whether or not if you are able to give people gifts during this time. You know, because many of you have just come into this truth and you don't want to disappoint your children. All right, but let me ask you a question. Before we get into all that, let me ask you a serious question. If anyone was to come up to you at this point right now and ask you, why do you actually celebrate the Feast of Dedication or Hanukkah? Would you be able to give them an honest answer? Or would you say, I don't know? Or would you say, I know we're supposed to celebrate it, so I'm inquiring about it now, you know? So what we're going to do, we're going to take care of two things here tonight. Number one, I'm going to explain to you why we do, and then we can talk about how, okay? So the first thing I want everybody to do, please open your Bible to the 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha. And what we have to do first off is get some clarity on some things here in regards to Hanukkah versus Christmas, okay? Now, as we all know, Christmas is a time that we are not to celebrate, that is of the world. And I'm going to show you that Christmas is not to be celebrated by the Israelites, okay? And that includes Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Everybody outside of that, the Moabites, the Edomites, Ammonites, they can do whatever they want to. But when it comes to us Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we have laws that we must follow according to the Most High, all right? So first, let's do this here. I want you to go to John chapter 10 and go down to verse 22. John chapter 10 and go down to verse 22. Okay, so I'm going to read this here to you. And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication / Hanukkah, and it was winter. Okay, so this is why they try to associate Christmas and Hanukkah. Just because our Feast of Dedication falls in the winter does not mean that it is associated with Christmas. Now, as we learned back in the Halloween lesson, Christmas is associated with evil, okay? And it is. And the only reason why they take this here, December 25th, is the time of the winter solstice, okay? And what they're doing, they are giving praise and worshiping their little false fairy god of the winter. That has absolutely nothing to do with us, nothing at all. What pertains to us, we are going to get ready to read here in just a bit, all right? So that's the only reason why it's associated there with winter. That's it, the only reason. Now, I want you to go now to Jeremiah chapter 10. And we're going to get this here really quick. I'm going to move through this here pretty fast. I know you guys have better things to do. I want you to go to Jeremiah chapter 10. Let's go ahead and start at verse 1. Watch this. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Nobody else, just us. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, the other nations, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. There it is, the Most High saying it right there. And you're going to find out as we go through some of this here tonight. I want you to remember that. For the customs of the people are vain, worthless. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. So it's saying that they actually go into the forest and cut a tree. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree. I want to stop right there, because when you go to explain this, you see people will be like, oh, you see? No, they're not talking about a pine tree. They're talking about a palm tree. That's not what it said. Watch, let's read it again. They are upright as the palm tree. It didn't say it was a palm tree. It says it sits upright as a palm tree, because especially for those people in Florida, y'all know that palm trees are very tall, all right? And they're very distinguishable in their height. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born. So pretty much what this is saying here, they used to worship those pine trees. They would deck it with silver and gold. What is that, Israel? That is a Christmas tree. They deck it with silver and gold, and throughout the years, they got more creative and more elaborate by putting colors and all that different stuff on there, garland and everything, but it's talking about the very same thing. But speak not, they must needs be born. So what this is saying, these trees cannot do anything to you. All right. Born meaning airborne, like how, it means that it can't move on its own because they cannot go. See, it's telling you right there. They cannot go. They cannot move on their own. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. So in other words, these trees are not going to come to life and start chasing you around and things like that. It's not going to do that. Neither also is it in them to do good. So in other words, it's saying it's not going to do you any damn good to put it up either. Why? Because that custom is vain. So that's what that's saying. The Most High told us straight up, we cannot involve ourselves with Christmas trees. Now, for what the world tries to say, the Christmas tree and all this stuff has to do with Christ. No, it doesn't. Christ wasn't even born during this time of Jeremiah. This is 400 years prior to the birth of Christ. So it has absolutely nothing to do with Christ. Okay? So Christmas or Xmas, that has nothing to do with us. We are to, what we're going to do here is talk about the Feast of Dedication and now why we actually celebrate it. So now what I want you to do, I want you to go to First Maccabees, the history of the Maccabees. Now you are going to find out why they took this out of the Bible, or at least the other translations. And this is why I only stick to the 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha. You're going to find out here right now. So we're going to go to First Maccabees, and I want you to go to chapter 1. I'm going to read this down, okay? And of course, I'm going to be explaining it as I go. First Maccabees, chapter 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So this is talking about Alexander the Great, or I don't like to call him that, so I call him Alexander the Greek. Okay, and I know there's other people that call him that as well. But I want to bring this out here to you. One of the reasons why they took this out of the Bible, because the Bible confirms Bible history. Not only does it confirm Bible history, but it confirms world history, because Alexander the Greek, this man was an actual person. He was an actual man on this planet. So the Bible just confirmed, showing that the Bible is real. It is not a book of folklore. It's actually real. All right. So now let's go to verse 2. Verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. So Alexander was not a dude to be played with. He was very equipped with warfare. Now, remember in several lessons we talked about Esau and their warfare, right? Okay, this was one of the blessings that was given unto Esau, that he would be a man of war. All right, verse 3. And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. So in other words, this man was full of pride. Why? Because he was an ass kicker and he was wearing people out all the way to the point to where they were like, yo, you got it. So it's like, to pretty much give an example, you know, when there's somebody that that can fight really, really good, you know what I'm saying? And people, they don't mess with him like that, they don't want to risk, taking an ass whooping. So that's how Alexander was. He shut mouths. He did. Verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who came tributaries to him. So that means Alexander was going into different nations, conquering them, and making them pay him, whether it be taxes or in gold or with, in Alexander's case, with men, because he was. All right, next. Verse 5. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. So back then, they don't have treatments for the type of STDs that they had back then, so he died from being a part of that type of lifestyle. And you can verify that through his history. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So what happened was Alexander got all his boys together, the cats that he grew up with, his mans and them, right? So he gathered them together and divided up his kingdom amongst his boys, all right? So verse 7, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. Verse 8, and his servants bear rule every one in his place. Verse 9, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. Evils were multiplied in the earth. So here are these Edomites that are in rule. And the Most High is letting you know everywhere they went, they multiplied and evil rose. It doesn't matter where they touch down at, evil rose. Evil follows them everywhere they go, per scripture. And you can actually start to see why they removed this from the other translations, because it talks about Esau's history. All right, go to verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So remember, these are different kingdoms. Now, as you read earlier there, that Alexander conquered the Persian Mede Empire, right? So now we're having a discussion of the Greeks. Now look at verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men. Now, y'all really need to start paying attention here. I'm going to read this again. In those days went there out of Israel, us, wicked men. So now it's talking about the wicked men of Israel, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So do you see this? So now here you have these wicked ass Israelites that said, you know what? Listen, let's go and bond ourselves with the heathens. So in this right here, they're talking about Esau. And I want y'all to see that nothing has ever changed. Nothing, nothing, nothing. All of those people that had on those MAGA hats and make America great again and did all that stuff there, that very same spirit all the way back then lives here today. Nothing has changed, Israel. Nothing has changed. All right. All right. Now, I want to read this one more time. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many. They persuaded people to follow the customs of the heathens, saying, let us go and make a covenant. A covenant. That word, covenant. Make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So they saying, ever since, man, there was these other Israelites that came up in here and got us to start following the laws, statutes, and commandments. We didn't want to keep them damn commandments. You know what I'm saying? That's too much on us. We want to do what the heathens do. Isn't that? Let me save that. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. So do you see that? This divisive, pleased them well. So many of our people wanted to run out and go disobey the Most High because they wanted to fulfill their lust. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. So they just gave up on the Most High. They're like, yo, Father, listen, I'm not trying to rock with you. I want to go ahead and rock with Esau. I want to rock with Esau. Ain't that, man. All right. Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised. So I got to stop for a second. It is a law of the Israelites that our men must be circumcised. Now, if you don't know what circumcision is, it is when the foreskin is removed from the penis. Okay? Now, there are many of you out there with foreskin on you right now. And I'm going to let you know right now, you better get it removed. That was a covenant between the Most High and his sons. That needs to happen. First of all, for health reasons. All right, you sit there and pull it back and you see nothing but lint and cheese and all that all over the place with it. It's disgusting. So go ahead and you need to get that done. I don't care what the surgery is. You need to get it done. All right, verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. Again, just gave up on the Most High. And joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. And was sold to do mischief. Y'all see how crazy that is? Do we not do that today, Israel? And remember, this is all about Hanukkah. Remember that. All right, so now, let's go now to 2 Maccabees. Let's jump down to 2 Maccabees. Like I said, I want to kind of further this along. Let's start at verse 1. We're going to start at 2 Maccabees, verse 1. Let me just go ahead and read it. Let's just go down. All right, y'all ready? Let's go. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jorib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. So it's letting you know Mattathias is an Israelite, and he is from Jerusalem, but right now he lives in the land of Modin. Modin, whichever one you prefer. And he had 5 sons. Jonan called Cadus, Simon called Thassi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar called Aravin, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphas. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people, this misery of my people. Now, that was back then. Can you imagine what he would be thinking now? Oh, man. And of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers? Her temple is become a man without glory. I want to make sure y'all understand that. I'm going to read that one more time. Her temple is become a man without glory. Her temple, meaning the holy temple of Jerusalem. And it looks like a man without glory. You know what that means? A man without his junk. Worthless. That's what that is explaining. And I truly want you to see how our forefathers spoke. Yo, we talked on a down-to-earth level. Straight up. Even the Most High talks to a down-to-earth level, you know? And that's why I speak the way that I do. All right, verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. If I didn't know any better, I would think that they'd be talking about today. Right now, the infants, the babies, the men are shot down in the streets with the sword. Today, translate that sword to bullets. As I always tell you, Israel, the very same things that happened back then are the very same things that happen now. Remember what King Solomon said. There is nothing new under the sun. All right, let's continue. Verse 10. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? So in other words, just letting you know right now, all the other nations, all of them have had their hand in our captivity. They're all guilty. All her ornaments are taken away of, a free woman, she is become a bondslave. So now what is that reference right there? That references Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 68, specifically 68, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. You see how all of our forefathers knew the history? Which is why I love to teach the history. I love it so that now they knew it. Now we know it too. All right. Verse 12. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste. So do you see how our forefathers talked about the people? Beautiful, glory, just like all of us today. We so beautiful, and damn it, we know it. We know we beautiful. Is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Gentiles, I have a lesson called Gentiles versus Gentiles. In this case here, the Gentiles that they are speaking of are both of them, and you'll see. Because remember, in 1 Maccabees 1, they gave up the Holy Covenant. Remember? They gave up the Holy Covenant. They didn't want anything to do with it. They wanted to go rock with Esau. And that's when they became Gentiles. They converted to being Gentiles. All right. Verse 13. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? So it was like damn near like, yo, we might as well die. Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. Now, we just went over that there not that long ago. Remember about the sackcloth? Remember? We learned about that in Jonah last Friday. So as you see, this was something that they did. You know, they used to rip their clothes off and they'll put ashes and stuff all over them. Remember, they saw themselves as beautiful. So they used to make themselves ugly. And so many of us, we do not have that attitude today. You know what I'm saying? We look at ourselves as ugly. We, as far as you sisters, I'm sorry, I got to pick on y'all sisters, but a lot of you go ahead and y'all put that blonde and stuff in your hair because you think that is the picture of beauty. And it's not. Queen, princess, you are the picture of beauty. You are. And as you see right here, our forefathers are explaining it to you. You are the picture of beauty. That white women, them other nations want to be you. So I'm telling you, you already know how I'm all about rocking royalty, but also guess what? You better rock your natural. Rock that natural. All right. So now, as a matter of fact, let me do something here. Let's jump for a second. I want you to go to 2 Maccabees. I want you to go to chapter 6. 2 Maccabees chapter 6. And the reason why I'm bringing this out, because remember how it said that they profane the altar? They profane the temple. I'm going to give you the example of what that is. Let me get a drink real quick. That they actually profane the temple. I'm going to show you how they profane the temple. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. So, just like we just read, first of all, this man from Athens right here, that is an Edomite. Athens is in Rome. These are Edomites, who today are the Caucasians. And what was this man doing here? He went to the Jews to compel, meaning to force. Y'all cannot be following those laws, statutes, and commandments of your God. Verse 2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem. Remember, we just read about that. And to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius. Jupiter, Jupiter, Jupiter. So as you see, the solar system, the planets and all that stuff up there are named after these people. Jupiter. And that in Garazan of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, showing you that they know exactly who they are, that they are strangers, they are outcasts, and here they are attacking the Israelites. Here it is, calling these planets and stuff gods because they know that the God of Israel is not their God. As they did desire that dwelt in the place. Verse 3. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, sore and grievous. So there were Israelites that were still keeping these commandments. They were 100% with the Most High. These Edomites started coming in here and they started defiling the temple, and it hurt our people to see this. Verse 4. The temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles who dallied with harlots, whores, prostitutes, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in the things that were not lawful. So for those of you who are not picking up on this, do you know what they were doing? They were having sex in the temples. They were having sex in the temples and disrespecting the Most High. Can you imagine the level of balls? Can you imagine the level of nuts that it takes for you to go and bone somebody in the temple of the Most High? Verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So do you see that? What it's saying here, as us, as Hebrews, as Jews, it was unlawful for us to call ourselves Jews, to keep fast, or to celebrate the Sabbath. Why? Because those were the laws that the Most High God gave us. And guess what? They didn't want us keeping it. Because when we kept the laws, we were always under the Most High God's protection. That is the weapon that they used against us. That's the weapon that they use. That is the very same weapon they use today as to why the Christians go to Christian church and they try to get everybody in to celebrate the Sabbath on Sunday when that's not the correct day, when it's actually 2 days before. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. These people are wicked. Wicked. All right. So I wanted to show you that. So now let's go ahead and go back to 1 Maccabees. 1 Maccabees chapter 2. Let's go back to verse 15 now. Verse 15. All right, here it is. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. All right, so Mattathias told his sons, yo, come on, yo, let's suit up. Let's go. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. So here you have this little weakling nigga that's coming in, right, and talking to Mattathias. And Mattathias, they say, he's looking at him, yo, Mattathias, yo, listen, yo, you are a great man. Listen, yo, you got your sons, you got strong brethren around you. So, he's pretty much trying to, he's fattening him up, so to speak. All right, next, verse 18. Now, therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shall thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends. So in other words, he's telling them, yo, listen, come away from the laws of your God. Yo, listen, everybody else doing it. Yo, we all doing it. Yo, we all out here doing it with Esau. We doing what they do. And guess what? We out here living lovely. We out here living lavish. And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. Israel, what the hell does that sound like today? It sounds like rappers with the bling and all that or whatever, and the fancy cars and all that. And, yo, listen, yo, we doing what Esau said. Yo, we doing what this white man tell us. Yes, we going to call our women's bitches. We going to call them whores and everything like that. We're going to go ahead and fag our damn pants, below our butt cheeks and everything to show that it's a sign for open availability. We're going to do all that. We are going to follow the customs of the prison house. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to do this out here. And guess what? We're going to teach your sons and everybody to do it. Nothing has changed, Israel. Nothing has changed. All right. Verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice. Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments? Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. So they say, yo, listen, all them niggas out there doing that, yo, they can do whatever they want to do. But when it comes to my sons, when it comes to my brothers, the real brothers, the ones that are keeping the law, statutes, the commandments, we're going to follow what our forefathers told us to do. That's what we're doing. We are not worrying about you. If y'all niggas want to go out there and do that, y'all go out there and do that. But when it comes to us, remember, a couple of weeks ago, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And he was saying the same thing right here. Our forefathers always got down like this. Always, always, always. All right, let's go. Verse 21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left. So he said, yo, listen, y'all do what y'all want to do. Not happening. We ain't doing it. Verse 23. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews, one of Israel, in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. So I just want to make sure that I bring this out right here. So this is referencing right back to 2 Maccabees 6, 1 through 6. So here you have this brother that's coming up to profane the temple. And I want y'all to pay very close attention to this next part. Verse 24, which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed. He was mad. He was pissed. He was buck. Inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. I mean, yo, you ever been so mad that you shake, and you just I'm a whoo, like that. Neither could he forbear to shew his anger. He could not hold it in. He could not hold it. According to judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Do you understand what that means, Israel? Here was this nigga that came to the altar and he was like, yo, I'm going to disrespect the altar of the Most High God right in front of his sons. And Mattathias saw that and was like, nigga, you must be out your mind. He ran up there and he killed that nigga. He took his life right there on the altar, spilled his blood on the altar, slew him. Don't you ever disrespect my God. Hands down, bottom line. Don't y'all wish so many of us had that attitude today? That we were so buck for the Most High, yo, straight up. And that is why us kings, we have such a great responsibility. We have such a great responsibility when it comes to restoring this nation. No playing games. We have work to do. We have work that we have to put in. Yes, we come here and we have our lessons and everything like that. But guess what? We can learn everything. But if we do not apply what these scriptures say, it is a waste of time. All right. So now let's do this here. Let's go down to, because I like I said, I'm trying to make sure that I keep y'all time here. All right, jump down to go to verse 31. Go down to verse 31. All right, here we go. Now, when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandments were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness. So they went back and told the king, like, yo, listen, yo, these men, they just came, yo, they killed your men. They killed your dudes, yo. That, because remember, this was the man that went and talked to Mattathias, right? Hold on, let me jump back. Israel, I'm so sorry. Let me jump back. Go to verse 25. Go to verse 25. I want to do this one right here. I want to read this here to you because this is important too. Also, the king's commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. So he didn't just kill the one dude, he killed several. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like the Phinehas did unto Zambri, the son of Salam. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. And this is why I wanted to jump back and talk about this here. Again, this is very important. So Mattathias went out, and we went out to everybody. Yo, listen, whoever is zealous for the Lord of Most High, yo, y'all come with me. Come with me. For all of y'all that are not afraid to put your balls on for the Most High, yo, come with me. All right. Verse 28. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. So that's the part right there that made me want to go ahead and jump back. So what they do, they left everything that they had. Everything that they had, they just went ahead and left. And we're like, yo, don't even worry about none of that, yo. Let's go ahead and hit that wilderness. Let's do what we need to do for the Most High. All right, so now I want you to go down to verse 31. Now, when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness. See, now I just wanted to bring that back so you can see what that meant there. So Mattathias and all those men that he had went into the wilderness. Now, do you see again here about the wilderness? The wilderness has always played a part in Israel. Always, always, always. It happened back then, and it's going to happen when the chariots come. So y'all better be ready. Verse 32. They pursued after the men, after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. So these other nations, these heathens, they went to go find these brothers, and they made war against them on the Sabbath day. Now, remember, we talked about the Sabbath in the past, remember? They always want to do something on the Sabbath. The Sabbath is such an important day for our people, but we disgrace the Sabbath. Our people disgrace the Sabbath. But as you see, even the enemy knows, yo, go mess with them on their Sabbath day. All right, verse 33. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. So they're telling them, yo, if y'all go ahead and surrender now, yo, just go ahead and come and just live by the way the king wants. Now, why is this so important? Because if Israel breaks the law, the Most High will not protect us. He will not protect us. All right. So go now to verse 34. But they said, we will not come forth. They said, nah, we're not coming forth. We are not coming forth. Neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. I'm going to read this one more time. But they said, we will not come forth. Neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So they're like, yo, listen, I don't care what y'all do. I don't care what y'all say. We are not going to profane the Sabbath day. And y'all have to see and understand that how serious our forefathers and foremothers were when it came to keeping the Sabbath. Verse 35. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. So they're like, all right, y'all not going to do it. So, yo, stand down. That was Israel telling everybody, yo, if y'all want to do what y'all want to do, go ahead. Go ahead. Howbeit, they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid. Do y'all see that? They was like, yo, listen, we respect the law and the Sabbath day so much that we are not going to even fight on the Sabbath day. So if y'all niggas want to go ahead and kill us, go ahead and kill us. First of all, we are Israelites. We comply and we will die for the Most High. That's how it is. That right there shows the respect that our forefathers had for the Most High. It's crazy. Okay, so now let's go down to verse 37. But said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. So do you see that? That is such a profound statement, that heaven and earth will testify for us. Yo, go ahead and kill us. Go ahead and kill us. But our blood is going to speak. Our blood is going to speak from the ground. Oh, it's going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen. Israel, do you know what that means? With them saying, do you know what they're saying? They'll say, niggas, we'll be back. We'll be back. All right. So now jump down to verse 41. All right. So now watch this. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him, neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. So that's why I wanted to jump down, because now Mattathias and them are like, yo, listen, time out. We understand that our brothers went ahead and died for that, but yo, guess what? It's time to raise up. It's time to raise up, and now we're going to put a hurting on these niggas. If anybody else want to go ahead and try to come fight us, yo, guess what? We are not going to die. We're going to bring it to these niggas. Bottom line. So there is a time when the Most High is like, yo, stand down. Then there's also a time when the Most High is like, raise up. Raise up. Let's go. Put your balls on. Get your straps. Get what you need. It's time to go kick some ass. Now remember, this all pertains to Hanukkah, Feast of Dedication. All right. Verse 42. I'm going to read 41 again. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him, neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. So there he is talking about that. He acknowledged that our forefathers and the brethren died. Verse 42. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the Lord. So guess what? The brothers start raising up. The other brothers started coming. Like, yo, we got you. And you see that unity? Do you see the unity that our forefathers had back then? Like, yo, y'all niggas going to battle? Yo, we right there with you. Yo, let's go. Yo, let's go. Let's go do this. For some of y'all, I don't know. Like I said, I have two older brothers. I got two older brothers. So for those of you that have brothers or sisters for that matter, when somebody messing with you or whatever, and cats or whatever try to jump you, and you go get your brothers, and your brothers like, yo, they get all suited up and yo, let's go handle this. And y'all go out there and go to war. Yo, there's no more proud moment than that. I'm telling you, that's why, to this very day, I love and respect my big brothers. I do. All right, verse 43. Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them and were a stay unto them. So the ones that fled, they even got bucked. We're like, yo, come on, yo, forget that. Yo, let's go. Come on, let's do this. Verse 44. So they joined their forces and smote. Listen to this. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath, but the rest fled to the heathen for succor. So did you see this? All of them got together. It was like, yo, let's hurt them. Let's kill them. Let's do them in. And that's exactly what they did. And then you had the enemy that was running. They ran for succor. Now, succor means they were going to try to get help. That's what that was. Verse 45, then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars. So there was like, yo, y'all disgrace these altars. So guess what? Y'all built your own, we tearing it all down. Just like the Most High said is going to happen in the last days. All of their raised buildings, go read the book of Obadiah. All of their raised buildings, all their skyscrapers, all their beautiful things, the Most High said, I'm bringing all of that down. Go read the book of Obadiah. All right. Verse 46, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, they were circumcised valiantly. So that's why I said earlier, for those of you that are Lenten and cheesing, go get freaking circumcised. Go get circumcised. Verse 47, they pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. They were tearing them up. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles. Oh, praises to the Most High God. Oh, praises. Could you imagine if our brothers were so dedicated like that today? If we could all get together and actually do that. If we could all focus on the law. If we could all focus on the law and go kick some ass, man, Man, if we can only get our stuff together. And out of the hand of kings, neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. Now, when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Israel, we talk about that all the time. That's coming, and it's coming soon. Verse 50, now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the Lord. Read this again. Now, therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the Lord. Be zealous. Be zealous. Yo, love this law. Pump this law like how you pump the damn Giants or whatever football team or basketball team or whatever. That is what we should be pumping. That is what we should be doing. That is what we should be promoting, but we don't. You know why? Because many of you are just in that world system like they were back then. Just like they were. But I'm going to read it again because it's so good. Now, therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the Lord and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Give your lives for it. Give your lives for it. He made that plain. And this is Mattathias on his deathbed, man. All right. So now, here it is. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. Israel, that is why we celebrate Hanukkah. That's why. That is why we celebrate the Feast of Dedication. It is a celebration of our fathers whooping these niggas' asses. This is why Esau tried to take this out of the Bible. That's why. Now, compare that to Christmas. Compare that to that fat, red, stinking ass bastard called Santa Claus, which is Satan just spelled a different way. Which one of these stories should we be teaching our children? Which one of these stories, kings, should we be teaching our princes? But yet, our people love to talk about some damn Santa Claus. Some white man that comes down in a chimney, breaks into your house, and for many of us in the hood, we didn't have no damn chimneys, and he for damn sure wasn't climbing on fire escapes, and he for damn sure was not going through the hood with a bag full of toys. That nigga would have got robbed and stomped. So I never understood that damn story of Santa, whatever. But what should we be talking about? This is what we need to be teaching our children. This right here. This is one of the greatest gifts that the Most High God has ever given us. Ever. That's the Feast of Dedication right there. That's the Feast of Dedication. So how do you celebrate it? First of all, you gather your family together. Let's read 51 again. It gives us the answer. Call to remembrance the acts our forefathers did in their time. So ye shall receive great honor and an everlasting name. Right there. Boom. An everlasting name. Bring your family together. Y'all sit down. Y'all read these scriptures, and specifically this type of story right here, and get together and talk about it. Create a feast. Everybody gather around. Turn off the damn TV or turn it on if you want to watch a lesson like one of these or something where one of us brothers are coming out the scriptures with the straight, plain truth. That's how you celebrate it. And the Most High said, yo, do this for 8 days. Christmas is only 1 day. Y'all don't understand, yo, the Most High likes to party. The Most High likes to get down. Where do you think we get that from? And that's all of us. That's blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Y'all already know nobody party like us. Nobody party like us. But I got to tell you right now, nobody party like y'all damn Hispanics. Y'all, with the Northern Kingdom, especially Ephraim, Issachar, yo, y'all niggas don't know when to stop partying. For real. That's why y'all always get the cops called on y'all when it's time to stop this damn party. For real. Even with Judah, you would be like, all right, yo, come on, yo, it's 3 o'clock. All right, yo, I'm going to bed. But, yo, nah. Yo. The Northern Kingdom, they're like, yo, where y'all going? No, Ephraim, okay? No, Issachar. All right, nigga, it's time to go to sleep. They'll be out there straight up. They'll be like 5 a.m, yo, with tequila in their hand. Like, yo, it's just getting started. But that all comes from our forefathers. That all comes from our forefathers. That all comes from the Most High. They got down. Look at what Christ did. What was one of his first miracles? Well, what was it? He took all the water at the party and turned it into wine. Yo, let's get feeling good. That has always been our rich history. That has always been it. Always, always, always. But yet, we want to go ahead and represent their little stupid holidays. That has nothing on what we are supposed to celebrate. Nothing. Nothing at all. It is a time of celebration. Feast. Yo, bring the food. Instead of doing a cookout on the damn Sabbath day or whatever, let's go ahead and have these damn 8 days. Man, if we would only get it together, All right, so now, in regards to those of you who are so concerned about giving gifts to your family, all right, whether it be your children, husbands, wives, whatever the case may be. All right, so I want you to go to 2 Corinthians chapter 9. We're going to go ahead and put that to bed right now. Go to 2 Corinthians chapter 9 and go down to verse 7. I'm going to read this here to you. Watch this. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. God loves a cheerful giver. You see that? Let me read the next one. Now I want you to go to Hebrews chapter 13. Go down to Hebrews chapter 13 and go down to verse 16. Watch this. But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifices, God is well pleased. Make a sacrifice. What does it mean to sacrifice? To give yourself to somebody. You know, not in a sexual way or anything like that, but to give your heart to somebody. Sacrifice, give them a gift. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right. Now I want you to go to James chapter 1. James chapter 1, go down to verse 17. Watch this. Every good gift, and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow or turning. So when you are given this gift and you are doing it from your heart, guess what? That's coming from the Most High. So do y'all see anything wrong with gifts? Let me get you one more. I want you to go to Acts chapter 20. Go to Acts chapter 20, go down to verse 35. Acts chapter 20, verse 35. Watch this. I have shewed you all things, how that so laboring ye ought to support the weak, and to remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Israel, the Bible is so plain when it comes to giving the gifts. Can you give people gifts? Yes. Can you give people gifts during the Passover? Sure. Why not? There's nothing saying that you can't. So instead of Israel, you worshiping that fat red bastard and giving it on Christmas, why don't you just go ahead and give your children gifts during the Feast of Dedication? Why not? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Now, you're not sitting there celebrating your kids or whatever, but let me tell you what I did with my kids. Let me share something with you here. Now, of course, when I first came into this truth, I'll be the very first to admit that was something that was on my mind as well. All right, so they may have an issue with this, but then I stopped and I thought about it and I said, wait a minute. I'm smarter than this, okay? And my kids are not greedy. And the Most High blessed me with 2 great kids. He really, really did. But I was like, okay, hold on a second. I have to be able to explain this to them in a way. So I said to my kids, I sat them down. I said, listen, I showed them in the Bible. We can't do these things. And to my surprise, they were 100% absolutely like, they were like, okay, well, you leading. So what's up? So of course they asked a question. So so how do we celebrate Christmas? I said, let me ask y'all a question. What if I told you that if you do what I tell you to do, You do all of your schoolwork, your chores, you bring home good grades, you're not giving me any problems or anything like that, all right? You are being obedient to the laws that I lay down for you, right? What if I was to say, hey, you know what? If you do that, then you're going to be rewarded throughout the year. So if you want something, you just come to me, and if it's at an appropriate time to do it, and if I have it, then then I'll get it for you. I saw the wheels turning in my kids' eyes. So, they, wait a minute, hold on. Like, all right, let me ask you a question. All right, Dad, let me ask you a question. So you mean to tell me if we do what you tell us to do, and we bring home good grades and our chores and everything are done, and we're not causing you any problems, so that means if I want to go get a pair of kicks or something like that we can go? If you got it, if we're able to? Yeah. Do you know how fast my kids gave up Christmas? You know how fast they gave it up? I'll tell you right now, they didn't give a damn about Christmas. They didn't give a damn about Christmas, and they did not give a damn about their birthdays, because they calculated. They were like, yo, wait a second, hold on, time out. We have our birthday and Christmas. That's only twice. But if I'm doing this here throughout the year, whatever, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, then, if I ask for something and he says I can have it, within reason, then okay. I'd much rather go with that. And Israel, do you know what I base that on? I base it on the Most High. Why? What did he tell us to do? Keep the commandments, and you'll be rewarded. So let's go. If you think I'm lying about that, go straight here to Revelation chapter 22, verse 14. Watch this. Blessed are they that do his commandments. Blessed, blessed, blessed. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Boom. I taught my children the biblical concept, and they follow a biblical concept. And guess what? They gave up the way of the world. Didn't give a damn about it. And I'm very proud to say, that my children, they do what they're supposed to do. They bring home good grades. They are in this truth. And guess what? They want things, and if it's appropriate, they get it. There's nothing wrong with that. You see, the world has went ahead and destroyed our people in their brain as far as us following their customs. And if anybody goes against that, if anybody goes against their customs, that there's consequences that come with that. Meaning, your children being upset. Let me tell you right now, you better teach your children what we just learned here. That's what you better teach your children. That the Most High said, we'll party for 8 days. Forget their little stupid one-day Christmas. Forget that. Nah, we are going to take this and we're going to celebrate in the kingdom. I want y'all to remember what our forefathers did. That was the instructions. Remember what the forefathers did back in the day. Remember what they did. He said, call to remembrance. That is what the Feast of Dedication is all about. For all of us to go ahead and get together and talk about these stories right here in our rich history. That is what it's all about. Okay, so I sure hope I answered your questions in regards to this, and I really hope that you apply what our forefather Mattathias said. I hope y'all do it. That is how you are to celebrate. That's the term I'm going to use. That's how you are to celebrate the Feast of Dedication. So right there, all questions have been answered. All right. And Israel, I thank y'all so much for reaching out to me and asking me about this here. And I certainly hope that I did edify you. And if anybody has any more questions, y'all already know how to reach me. MikeMalissChannel@gmail.com, or you can reach me on Instagram @MikeMaliss. And as y'all already know, I will respond back to you. All right. Israel, again, celebrate this time. This is a wonderful time. This is our rich history. And this is such a glorious time. And always remember, give praise to the Most High God. All right? And with that being said, Israel, I love you. I'm out.